we got to get a grip on this people pleasing, because if you continue, when you get into adulthood, you'll find that the people pleasing kind of escalates.
Your ability as you kind of learnt to disconnect from your caregiver while still being a child and exploring the world, what was that like for you? Like, I give. And then actually underneath all of that, there's a lot of resentment there.
With all the times in which you have not done that, and all the times where you have felt you were not deserving of that, not worthy of that, and that can come with grief. Welcome back to part 2. Our first video, we did something a little bit different, didn't we? We had a journalist reach out to us from Women's Health, and she wanted to talk about friendships and age gaps in friendships. So we thought we would bring that to the pod, to the floor. So we just spoke about our thoughts on it. And if you're interested, go and check it out.
Let's get ready for our second dilemma. So this one was a really interesting one because actually, again, it kind of like came in quite a different way, where I saw somebody's story and they were like, they had talked about something and then they're like, can somebody explain why do I do this? So then I said to them, I think we can. Can I take it to the therapy floor? And she was like, yes, of course, would love that. And so she gave us a bit more context. So what she was sharing on her stories was that she'd bought this magazine after work and she was so excited to get on the tube and read this magazine. But a stranger asked her for the magazine and she gave it to them. And then she was like, why do I do this? So then I asked her, can you give me a bit more information? Give it a context, because you know how we love our context. And she said, I'd say I really don't like confrontation. I always think I'm going to be found in the wrong, so I'd rather just make sure everyone else is happy and keep it moving. I also assume someone else needs something more than me, so I thought the guy on the train was maybe nervous or uncomfortable, so the magazine would have helped. He actually asked for it when we were waiting for the train, then got up and carried it on the train with him. So I had to sit next to him so I wouldn't lose the magazine. Then she does the cry face. When he could see I was uncomfortable, awkward about it, he started chatting. He didn't even give it back. And only when it was his stop did he give it back. Obviously, I know I could have said no or asked for it back, but I don't like the unknown of what might happen if I say no. It's only in the past year or so that I've realised I'm a people pleaser, mainly with acts of service. I would so easily get on a 90-minute train across London to help a friend out. It's only when someone asked me if they'd do the same for me and I thought, no, it's way too far away, but somehow it was fine for me to do. And then she's done a smiley face, but the upside down one. What are your thoughts? There's a lot there.
Yeah. So we have a people pleaser, conflict avoider, acts of service girl. Okay. And her question is, why do I do this?
Why do I do this?
Yeah. Well, we just usually take it back to the childhood, don't we? As we always do when we have a psychodynamic lens on. You know, when it comes to asking questions about why we do what we do, I think it's good to have some grace and some compassion when we're asking ourselves this question. Because we can feel shame and we can feel, like, what's wrong with me? Why do I do this? And actually, I think it's better to have an air of compassionate curiosity and not judgment and condemnation and humiliation or kind of beating yourself up. So let's start with the first one, people pleasing. Sorry, I feel like I'm just taking over.
I'm happy to listen.
Let's start with people pleasing. So people pleasing is so interesting because I was under the impression for a long time that people pleasing was because you just want people to be happy, you're a nice person and you don't like conflict. But people pleasing, don't take this the wrong way, people pleasing is not so much about us wanting to help others, it's about us wanting to help ourselves. And actually, we can develop people pleasing, particularly as a child, as a form of survival.
Currency of love.
Yeah, yeah. If I do not do this, if I do not meet this person's needs, if I do not make people happy, what will happen to me? So the question is not what is it, why do you do this? But I think rather the question you could be asking yourself is, what was I afraid of? What messages were conveyed to me when I was younger about being accepted by others? What, if I didn't follow through, what would happen to me? What form of social rejection, humiliation would I experience if I didn't appease people?
That's what she said she's scared of. Obviously, I know I could have said no or asked for it back, but I don't like the unknown of what might happen if I say no.
So what did happen?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What happened?
What happened? It doesn't have to be anything like huge or majorly traumatic, even if it was something small or a few small things, minor things that may have happened along the way. But what did happen when you didn't play ball?
And it could be like something is like being ignored.
Or being told off, being shamed. Oh, that's not a very nice thing to do. You know what, we tend to do this with children a lot. Share. Oh, that's not nice that you're not sharing.
Or you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with you now because you're not listening.
Yeah. You're in trouble now.
Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility that then gets placed on you because you somehow feel or get made to feel that you're in control of the grown-up's emotional state.
Yeah.
And so you have to behave a certain way to keep that grown-up balanced in a place where they have the capacity to maybe show you love.
Yeah.
Because if you went like off kilter, then that would mean they go off kilter. And I can imagine that could feel quite chaotic and unpredictable. You know, you talk about unknown.
And it being quite scary.
Yeah.
There's
an unpredictability element to that.
You know, I think that we could just look at the lightheartedness of this and think, oh, okay, it was only something quite insignificant. But I am actually quite passionate about helping people to put down people pleasing, because I think it is one of these things that can be quite insidious and can get in the way of meaningful connections and you receiving. And it just reminds me of work that I've done even with young women or even young girls, where I'm like, we got to get a grip on this people pleasing, because if you continue, when you get into adulthood, you'll find that the people pleasing kind of escalates.
It then, I think it's people pleasing can easily slide into like the self-esteem, self-worth stuff.
Of course, because then it kind of, you're having to do something, you're having to deny yourself, you're having to put your needs down in order to give someone else something. It's very different. I think people pleasing is very different if you have the capacity, you have the means, it doesn't cost you anything. But when you find that you are sacrificing, giving out of a place, not of abundance, but giving out of the scarcity that you already have, I think it can actually become quite dangerous. And it gives you the message that I'm not worthy, I'm less than, other people are more important, and I have to do something in order to feel that.
It's making me think about how you relate to the world. So you're...
To others or to the world?
others being part of the world.
Okay.
That like I'm existing to be of service to other people, right? So that's that's like my place in the world. And like not existing right now for my own needs, my own desires, my own wants, and being okay to voice those in different scenarios or situations. And it's making me think about, how do we learn how to relate to other people, and how do we learn to relate to the world? And that's with that, you know, healthy separation from adults.
Yeah.
Like as a child, it's making me, you know, it's making me think about object relations a little bit. That, you know, as a young child or as a young baby, you know, you will cry, your caregiver will come, feed you or change your nappy, and you eventually learn that you are not part of them.
Yeah.
As you grow up.
Yeah.
You learn that you are separate from them. And then as you're learning to be separate, you find a safe space within another adult, part of those caregivers or somebody else, to then go and explore the world. And then you can keep coming back to this safe space, this safe place. And it's making me wonder kind of what happened there. Your ability as you kind of learned to disconnect from your caregiver while still being a child and exploring the world. What was that like for you?
Yeah.
Were you allowed to go and explore and safely like learn about your needs? Or were they dictated to you, how you had to be, what you needed, your place in the world?
Were you there to make your parent happy?
Yeah, because so that's why I paused. You know, part of, I think, having a relationship as a child with a parent or a caregiver is we talk about rupture. And part of ruptures is confrontation. Like, ruptures often happen in relationships because one party wants one thing, another party wants the other thing, and they can't find the compromise. So it's like it becomes brittle, it becomes fractious. And then as a caregiver, you are hopefully having the capacity to recognize, actually, the child can't repair this. I have to repair this. So I have to come forward, give them that safe space to say, this was really hard. You know, I was like this, you were like that. This was hard for both of us. How do we work through this together? So that confrontation then doesn't seem scary over time.
Yeah.
It's like, we can have these blow ups,
Yeah.
but this is a safe space for you to come and then talk about those blow-ups with me. And I'm going to make this a safe space for me to come and talk about those blow-ups with you. And she talks at the start, I really don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
I always think I'm going to be found in the wrong. So I'd rather just make sure everyone else is happy and keep it moving. And I think that's such a powerful statement to make. Such a powerful statement. Because I think that gives us a huge clue into her childhood, potentially.
The dynamics that unfolded there. Yeah. So were you the person that was always in the wrong?
Yeah.
If there was a disagreement or a fight?
Yeah.
Was the blame put on you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I believe our past presents itself to us time and time again.
Yeah. Until we fix it?
Not
Change
fix it, but I think we become aware of it and we recognise we have a choice to do it differently. Like, I think it will still keep playing out because we'll still keep meeting people that remind us of different roles we might have had throughout our lives.
Yeah. And I think we definitely can become less triggered
Yeah.
as we resolve certain things. But yeah, I have to put other people first. I have to sort everything. It's better if everyone else is sorted, and then I can kind of deal with myself last.
I want to know, does it make you resentful? Like, how does that feel to look after everyone?
Yeah.
Because when I've worked with this in the therapy room, that often comes out.
What, in you?
No, in my clients.
Okay.
Like, I give. And then actually underneath all of that, there's a lot of resentment there.
What were you personally?
No, from the client. From all that giving and like
okay.
denying their own needs.
Okay.
Like, actually, how does that feel to just be giving all the time?
Yeah.
To not think about you?
But that's good, actually. I'd say that that's probably a sign that they're coming to some form of health.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why I wanted to know, how do you feel? Like, you can spotted it. You said, in the last year, I've realised I'm a people pleaser, mainly with acts of service. How does that feel?
Yeah.
To keep being the one who's servicing others?
Yeah. Yeah. To deny yourself in order to keep other people happy or to keep the peace. I would ask, are you ready for a change? Are you ready to do things differently? Are you ready to maybe grieve the identity that you've had all these years, shed it in order to accept something new? Are you ready to be someone who disappoints people?
And are you ready to ask for your needs?
Yeah.
And let others disappoint you if they can't give them?
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing, and are you also ready to learn that after ruptures, there can come repair?
That's scary.
It is.
And I think that's a really scary thing to do in adulthood.
Yeah. The stakes seem really high, don't they? If you've not seen it modelled, if you've not seen that this can happen, it's really hard to trust that it can. And sometimes it doesn't work.
No.
Particularly when people are so used to us doing it another way, which actually fits well with them.
Yeah. It's back to the roles we play, isn't it? There.
Yeah.
And we talked about this in the first episode, but that's maybe where then, like, as you're working through this and you're becoming more psychologically minded and more to that place of health, as you were talking about, that might be then where you do an audit.
An audit of the people around you who are comfortable with you staying in this role of being the people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just to come back to your original question of like, why do I do this? Definitely look back to see how this started. And sometimes it's not even just that we, going back to object relations or going back to attachment figures, secure attachment, insecure attachments. Sometimes it's not always that we feel that if we don't meet other people's needs, something bad would happen. Sometimes it's because it's what we've observed in our family relationships. So
it might not directly happen to her.
Yeah, but maybe this is like a role or a similar dynamic that takes place. Like I know, clients that I've worked with where their mum was a chronic people pleaser. And they kind of learnt
that behaviour.
They learnt that behaviour because, this is what we do.
Yeah.
In this family. This is the culture within this family.
Yeah.
We put other people before ourselves, maybe in certain like religious cultures as well.
That's a good way to look at it, actually, because then I think you can also do a bit of work with that. Look at those people now. Like, can you spot people pleasing within your family system? And what's their life looking like? Do you, when you're observing it, do you feel that's working for them? Because sometimes I think as we grow older, you can see it in somebody else and you're like, I'm so frustrated. Like, I wish they would just see, because it's easier to spot it in someone else than ourselves. And so I think use that to your advantage, that if that is going on in your family, how does it play out? How do you think it doesn't work? What do you think that person needs to do? What would you be encouraging them to do?
Yeah.
And then a part of all of this as well, to come back to your self-worth and to your self-esteem. I liked the example you used at the end about, I would never ask a friend to like travel 90 minutes to come and help me, but I would do it for them. I would like you to think about qualities that you have within yourself that you give to friendships, to relationships, that someone would do that for you and it would be okay to ask for that.
Yeah, it's okay to ask for that.
Yeah. As a way to look at you and your self-worth and say, actually, I can ask for that. Because I'm like this, and I'm like this, and I'm like this. And that's, again, a really uncomfortable thing to do.
Do you know why it's uncomfortable? I think. I'm just thinking from personal experience as well. Because then you are confronted with all the times in which you have not done that, and all the times where you have felt you were not deserving of that, not worthy of that. And that can come with grief. And a real regret that, oh my goodness, I really, what's the word? Not undeserved myself, but do you know what I mean? That kind of,
It's a mourning.
Yeah, oh my goodness, like I could have had more all this time, and I really didn't give myself that.
But I also think there's beauty in that.
Sure.
Because you know why? There's so much interconnectedness in that. That's you really forming a relationship with you then.
Yeah.
That's like you going in and touching you. Like, as you were saying that, I genuinely saw like little Vicky there, like you hugging her.
Yeah.
And being like, I'm sorry you didn't get all this.
Yeah.
You should have got all this.
Yeah. We're going to make sure you get it now.
Yeah.
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 So I think to change this it's gonna take a lot of courage and a lot of vulnerability. But what could come out on the other end could be so amazing and so beautiful and so powerful. This is you giving yourself a gift. But it's going to be risky because you have to risk maybe people acting in ways that may confirm your original thought, which is, am I worthy if I'm not giving, if I'm not putting other people first? So people's actions may intentionally or unintentionally confirm the bias or the hypothesis that you had in your mind, but you can form a new one. Like, keep persevering, keep going with it, keep daring to put yourself first, or maybe just not even last. Keep daring to ask for people to show up for you. Keep daring to risk confrontation, and see what happens.
I would journal through it. Just as a way to keep yourself on track.
Yeah.
And a way to like collate the evidence. So when I asked for this, actually people showed up.
Yeah.
And those and then even when people don't, like, make a note of that.
Yeah.
Is there a pattern there? Is it the same person that keeps not showing up? You know, then because all of this is information. And that's what life is, right? We're constantly getting information, and you have like the power to use that. You have the power to observe it all coming in, stop, reflect, observe. What do you want to do with that information? How do you want to go forward with it in a way that you're creating the life you want for you, how you want it to look, the type of relationships you want to have? Take that power. Take that magazine back.
Take the magazine back. Take it back.
Thank you so much for letting us talk about this today,
thanks.
because even though it might have seemed like funny or trivial, I think this is, again, back to what the beauty of like the therapy floor is that it could be anything. And this one was deep.
It will always have deep roots.
This one was really deep today. Yeah. It was really deep.
But so relatable.
So that's what I was going to say. I feel like a lot of people will be like, I would do that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we've not talked about it. I don't think we have time, but I wonder if gender played a role in this. I wonder what would have happened if a woman had asked you. Like, because it was a man, did that make a difference? So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one for another day.
Yeah.
So thanks firstly to the journalist, and then for this dilemma. If you have any dilemmas to send us, where can they go, V?
They can go to hello@thetherapyfloor.com.
This is Dr. Ritz,
And I've been Dr. Vicky.
and we'll see you on the floor soon.
Bye.
Bye.